Hi everybody, I'm Dr. John Douillard, and today I want to talk about how you can all get our 30-day Ayurvedic challenge for free. Our Ayurvedic challenge is every day for a month you get a different Ayurvedic technique that you employ into your lifestyle every single day. You know, the best way to learn about Ayurveda is absolutely to experience it. You get a video and a little PDF every morning in your inbox, and you follow it, and you then practice that for a day, and you do it for a month, and it's just a great way to experience and learn Ayurveda. Now, that's a $177 value, and you get it for free. But before I talk about how you can get that for free, I want to talk about what's happening now in nature and why it's so important to kind of adopt a lifestyle right now. At the end of the summer, some major things are happening. You know, this is the end of the very active, hot summer season. At the end of every season, the quality of that season accumulates according to Ayurveda. And the transition from one season to the next is when Ayurveda says disease starts. This is an Ayurvedic concept that's really quite profound. And if you don't transition well from one season to the next, you pay a price. And I really believe that this time of the year, spring as well, are the two most important times, because at the end of the summer, the heat rises. And when heat rises, it dries us out. And it brings the digestive fire, up. And this in Ayurveda is called Udvarta, which means upward moving digestion. So at the end of the summer, the heat accumulates. We hold on to more heat. The heat rises. It dries out our sinuses and the mucous membranes in our respiratory tract, which makes us more vulnerable to an immune event. When the heat rises, the digestive starts to get hotter and goes up. And now all of a sudden we notice that we're more vulnerable to indigestion, burping, gas, heartburn, as well as slower digestion and constipation, where all of a sudden the digestive system starts to slow down. Then we have on top of that the seasonal harvest of more fruits and nuts and seeds and grains, which are higher in fat or fructose that store fat to insulate you for the winter. So the body's sort of getting more congested and getting more sugar into the system to store the excess as fat to insulate us for the winter cold, to store fuel as reserve, and also to make sure that we have stable energy going into that next season. So the transition from summer into winter is really, really critical. Now, if we don't do anything, right, and we just go from summer right into winter, and the heat of summer isn't mitigated, then we go into the winter after a drying out at the end of the summer into a very dry winter when we get exceedingly dry, right? So nature said, you know what, that dryness is bad. We have a plan for that. And if you don't get rid of that heat and that dryness, the mucous membranes, which are your first line of defense from an immune perspective, which rely on your respiratory tract, your intestinal tract, and if they dry out, you lose your first and most powerful immune response. And I wrote an article about the importance of healthy mucous membranes, which is now backed by really good science. Those mucous membranes can't be too dry, they can't be too wet, they got to be just right to support the healthy proliferation of really good beneficial microbes that exist both in our respiratory tract and our gut and elsewhere as well. So if we go into the summer and we don't mitigate that heat at the end of the summer, and we go into the winter already dry, the dryness of winter really dries out the mucous membranes. The reaction to that dryness is to produce reactive mucus. That excess mucus can cause congestion in the intestinal tract, congestion in the respiratory tract, make you really vulnerable to an immune event, which is why it's so critically important to do something this time of the year in terms of mitigating that. Now, nature had a plan and said, well, we're just going to take care of that very simply by giving you apples and pomegranates and a whole bunch of fruits that are loaded in fiber. And just yesterday on my driveway, I was walking out, taking the trash out, and I saw some bare scat it was all loose with a whole bunch of seeds in it. And it was like, this is exactly why fruits are harvested this time of the year. They create purgation. They loosen the stool. If you walk into the northeast or the northwest and people eat apples at that time of the year where they're being harvested, They have apple pie and apple cider and apple butter and apple everything this time of the year because they're so prolific that they end up with loose bowel movements for the month of September and October. That loose bowel movement is called purgation, and that's how the body dissipates heat, end of summer heat, which is why we have those foods here. Plants had it all figured out. Give them a bunch of fruit at the end of the summer, it'll give them loose stools, they'll poop it out on the trail, and the seeds will spread, and the plant will stay. The species will endure. That was the sort of the big plan. In the same way that a baby gets a fever and at the same time diarrhea, the purgation, the loose bowel movement is nature's way to dissipate the heat, to get rid of the fever. In the same way, this time of the year, we should be doing things to help loosen up our stool. More of the vegetables, the fiber, the fruits, and things like that. Now, those fruits will make you sort of gain weight, but if you do them right, it should give you a looser stool to mitigate that impact. So it's a bit tricky. But Ayurveda sort of said, you know what, we really have to be a little more strategic about that. And they developed cleanses that employ purgation to flush the intestinal tract. But they also employed something even better. They employed something that Western medicine calls lipophilic mediated detox, right? Which means taking fats like ghee or olive oil into your system on an empty stomach, and then using those fats to pull bad fats out of your deep tissues. And studies show that this technique works very, very effectively to the tune of like 46% reduction in pesticides and another 56% reduction in toxic chemicals like PCBs. So there's really good studies. It's been shown to detoxify heavy metals out of the deep tissues, which even back in the Ayurvedic days, thousands of years ago, there were heavy metal issues. You know, certain foods will pull arsenic and cyanide out of the soil. And so we have to be aware of that they can build up and accumulate in the body. And so one of the ways to detoxify that was using these tools of detox called lipophilic mediated detox, followed by a purgation to flush it all out of your system. You know, the ghee and the olive oil is a process called oleation. Oleation means that you use these oils to not only pull toxins out of your deep tissues, but to lubricate and heal and support intestinal function, better gallbladder, liver, bile flow, to help flush the bile and decongest the sludge out of your liver and gallbladder. So the bile is a better pac-man to gobble up toxins, scrub and clean your intestinal tract, and reset optimal digestion. And the gateway to your lymphatic system is your intestinal skin. And if that's not just right, too wet or too dry, it has to be just right, then you end up with lymphatic congestion, which causes a host of other health concerns. And that system is where your immune system lives and thrives. That system is the detoxification garbage can, get rid of the waste system. And that system is also carrying good broken down fats to every cell of your body for baseline energy. So healthy lymph provides energy, detox, and immunity. So that's really critically important. So in Ayurveda, we have a cleanse called the Colorado cleanse, which is a 2-week Ayurvedic detox, lymph cleanse, and digestive reset that you do for 2 weeks. We do it every October as a group, and the kits for that are on sale right now, and you save. We have a kit price, and off the kit price, which is already discounted, you save 15% off of that right now as we speak. And if you do that, the gift you get for our Colorado cleanse or any of our kits, you get for the Colorado cleanse. All of our kits are on sale, but if you do the Colorado cleanse right now, you get the free Ayurvedic challenge for $177, which is worth $177 normally, but you get that for free. And that's a new Ayurvedic technique every day for a month. And you can take 2-3 months to do it, but you get it all for free. It's a ton of information. It's like a total intro to Ayurveda, and the best way to learn it is to experience it every single day. So this is the time of the year that if we don't get rid of that heat and pull the impurities out of our tissues, the mucous membranes in your body will become altered. The environment will change. The microbes that proliferate on an altered environment are opportunistic, and they compromise our immune response. So as we go into this winter, it's so critically important that we provide a really healthy balance of the mucous membranes that line our respiratory and digestive tracts. That is the most important tissue in our body from an immune perspective, from a digestive and assimilation of the good stuff and getting rid of the bad stuff out of our body. And if that system breaks down, those two protective barriers, the skin of the respiratory tract and the skin and lining of your intestinal tract, if they break down, then we begin to allow impurities into the lymph, and that breeds inflammation and a host of undesirable effects like compromised immunity, congestion, joint bloating, all the things that we really don't want. And we think about graceful aging, it's all about making sure that we live in sync with nature's cycles. And nature had a plan with every season. Think about it. If you live just off the land, only eating the food off the land, your diet would dramatically change. And if we did that, we could probably just do those things to stay in rhythm. Problem is we don't do that. We eat a lot of other foods that we want to enjoy. I always say if you eat more of the foods in season, you're getting, medicinal doses of those foods. You're getting the seasonal transitional benefit that we need to stay healthy. But a couple of times a year, it's important to go in there and pull the impurities out of the deep tissues, reset digestive function, heal the intestinal and respiratory skin, and make sure we detoxify the lymphatic system to make sure we go into the winter, which is a challenging time, as healthy as we can be. So the bottom line here is that our Cotterell cleanse, our group cleanse, is coming in the middle of October. If you get it now as part of our early bird, you get the kit price, which is discounted, plus 15% off of that. Plus you get the free the 28-day Ayurvedic challenge, which is $177 value, and you get that for free if you join us for the Colorado Cleanse this year. So check it out online and follow our links to the Colorado Cleanse, or go to my website at lifespa.com, and you'll see on our banner right up on top, the Colorado Cleanse early bird sale is on right now. So don't miss that and get the Ayurvedic challenge for free now as we speak. And this is for a limited time, so don't wait. Okay, talk to you guys soon next week, and please make sure you do something now in this window, this transitional time, to make sure that you're protected as we go into the winter months. I'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. John Douillard.